The segment you've all been waiting for. It is Alley-Oop segment of the debate. We've got Arthur and Jake here to debate an interesting question we've got for you guys. We'll be debating which team, the men's basketball at Michigan or the women's basketball, is going to have the better season. Arthur, you've got the men. You want to start it off?
So first I want to say the women, they have a lot of promise this year. They start out the season ranked. But I think if you look at the men and you look at sort of the way this team is made up, I think they really have a shot to do something special in Juwan Howard's first year. Granted, Appalachian State, it wasn't sort of a great opening game or opening exhibition, but they've got a good sort of combination of senior leadership and young talent. Once Franz gets back into the mix, I think you're going to see a much improved team. He's going to be able to space the floor, create some more things for them offensively. So I don't know. I think that just the men, overall they have a long way to go and a long way to improve. But I trust Coach Howard to sort of get them there in the end.
So you make some good points there, young Arthur, for your opening statement. However, I'm going to have to turn the tables on you a little bit here. So look, we know that the men had a impressive season last year, to say the least. A Sweet 16 berth is never anything to sneeze at. However, you could argue that the men ended up underachieving a little bit. The women, conversely, overachieving, getting to the second round of the NCAA tournament. Coach Kim Barnes-Arico back for yet another season. Michigan has achieved at least 20 wins every season under her command. We know that the Michigan men are experiencing a coaching change and losing their three top scorers from last year. There still is more continuity than you might think on the surface level. However, the women also having to replace three starters, but one of them, the replacement is a de facto starter from last year in Naz Hillman. We know how super she is. Looking to see her take super steps forward in her sophomore season. I think that the women also have less to replace, and it might be easier time in the Big Ten Conference than for the men. What do you think about that?
Well, I agree with that, and you make some very, very valid points as well. But I got to say, I think the men just have a higher upside than the women, just simply based off of, you're saying the women overachieved last year, and, they still have to replace three starters regardless of, Naz Hillman's role as well. But I think that the men, we're still not quite sure what they're capable of, but we know that they have the talent. They have, NCAA tournament level talent. And it'll be interesting. Coach Howard, he comes from an NBA background. He's going to be able to develop these guys really well. And I think, by the end of the season, they'll be at a place where they can make a good postseason run.
You might be right in the fact that Juwan Howard has a very impressive pedigree, obviously being one of the head assistants under Eric Spoelstra with the Miami Heat, also some experience with the Trailblazers as well at the NBA level, bringing that to college. However, Kim Barnes-Arico, again, we mentioned the key term in this argument, which is continuity, and the coaching staff continuity for the women. Not to mention the fact that while yes, they do have to replace three starters, we talked about Naz Hillman coming up. However, we also have Isabel Verjao, one of three impressive freshmen coming in. She's a big, should fit in nicely next to Hillman on that front line. Scored over 2,000 points in high school. Again, impressive achievement there. Whereas the men have a very much more raw recruiting class coming in. We have Franz Wagner, Mo Wagner's younger brother, more of a wing than his brother and a big man. He's injured to start the season as well. We know that Brandon Johns also has been dinged up the past couple of weeks or so. Supposed to come back soon, but we don't know how he's going to fit well back into the lineup. I think the women have a more stable foundation to build on coming into this season. I think that's what's going to ultimately lead them to have a better season than the men.
Yeah, well, you mentioned Johns. He's already back in the lineup. He's starting to incorporate himself well. And I think that those are all very solid points. Again, there's a lot that the men have to work with. So we'll see.
Arthur, I hate to cut you off, but it looks like we're about out of time. Jake, gonna have to give the points to you on this one.
2-1 on the season. No surprises there at all.
The argument of continuity, also the injuries the men are facing. I think the women are going to pull out a better season this year. Thank you for joining us here at Alley-Oop for our debate segment. Hope to see you guys next week.